3 o'clock on a Monday. Welcome aboard the Postgame show along with Terry Ford. I'm Jay Phillips. Jalen Tartt's at Master Control with us this afternoon. We want you to be a part of the program. I'll go ahead and throw out the numbers just in case those of you who may be newer to the station don't know it. 803-404-6100. You can use that to talk with us, text with us. Don't yell at us.
Yell at Jalen.
No, don't. Please don't do that.
No yelling.
Please don't do that, Jalen.
No yelling.
Jalen is still new.
Right. Don't scare. Well, that's a good way to break him in.
Well, it's a good way to break him. I don't know if it's going to break him in or not. We shall see. You can hit us on Twitter as well. A lot to get to, obviously, around the Gamecocks, and huge news in college football yesterday after a couple of really big wins and or losses, depending on your point of view, on Saturday across the country. But as we do virtually every day, we will focus our attention on South Carolina. You know, look, there's a lot of different ways to look at this LSU game. On the one hand, is it about what people thought, if you will. A 10-point loss on the road, 9.5-point spread, hit the under, which everybody figured was the right way to go. At the same time, LSU turned the ball over twice inside, 3, if you want to look at it that way. But they were good plays. You forced Nussmeier to make a mistake on the pick. Mikael Goodwine had a nice punch out on that ball with a fumble. So you can call it good defense at the same time. And once again, to my point, you see promise from Carolina get met with mistakes and inconsistency. And for a variety of reasons, that seems to be this year's team and this year's theme, if you will. And that's obviously not good. Bad. Committed 13 penalties on the road. Remember, at Missouri, I think it was 14. And also amounted to basically a same kind of game. Good. You had over 250 rushing yards. Now, a net of about 190 with sack losses, which count against the rush totals in college football, stupidly, but that's a rule they haven't changed. But you average 4.3 yards per carry on the ground, on the road, against a really good defense. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. Bad. Again, 5 sacks. Both on the line and with Lenoris, still wanting, as we've said many times this year, taking sacks for good reasons. But taking sacks are bad. Good. You won the turnover battle again, and this time on the road. You did that against Missouri as well. And you figure for this football team, if they win the turnover battle on the road, it can average better than 4 yards a carry. You're right there. But you couldn't get anything going. And we're still not exactly 100% on why Matthew Fuller wasn't in the game more after what we thought was a pretty good first half from him. At first, I thought he was hurt. Not really sure exactly what's going on there. We'll have more from Coach Beamer tomorrow exactly as to what the plan for Matthew Fuller is moving forward. But at some point, this team, if it's going to do anything close to last season, which I know for many of you now seems to just be something that's a fading hope, you got to put together a complete game against a good team, whether it's at Williams-Brice or whether it's on the road. And you haven't done that yet. You did not put together, well, you did it against Kentucky, but they were overmatched. But against the better competition you've seen this year in your building, Vanderbilt, some of that complete game wasn't necessarily your fault when your star goes down. Missouri, not complete. Saturday night, not complete. And here you sit at 3-3 and 1-3 in the league. Lenoris is in the same boat as a lot of players. There's moments of great confidence and obviously just fantastic ability mixed in with his own uncertainty or an inability to really allow a play to fully develop before there is pressure. A lot of times he makes, diamonds out of coal, but not enough maybe last weekend. And the offense has to find a way somehow to get Nick Harbor more directly involved in what it is that they want to do. And they haven't, again, consistency or inconsistency, you choose the word. They haven't been able to do that on a regular basis, and that's something that has to change. And there's a variety of reasons for that as well. Now, let's not bury the lead. Yesterday, now most of you know, Lonnie Teasley was fired as South Carolina's offensive line coach. Shane made great mention of this in his Sunday teleconference. We'll have the sound for you a little bit later on. We all get it. Nobody ever wants to see anybody lose their job, no matter how well paid people are and anything else. You know, these are people with families and livelihoods. And by all accounts, Lonnie Teasley is a beloved figure within the program. Good dude, good recruiter, develops great relationships. But you have certainly seen evidence that some of the developmental things and some of the fundamental issues that are plaguing the offensive line come down to, needing a new voice, according to Shane, in so many words. But procedural penalties against Missouri and against LSU, real killers at times. You know, it's the death by 1,000 paper cuts type of a situation. Defensively, again, Goodwine had a really good night. Stewart had a really good night. Defense was good. The defense was good enough for you to remain in this football game. Once again, I'll say, on the road. And not just on the road in a very difficult place for any college football team in this country to go in and attempt to win. Day, night, whatever, doesn't matter. It's LSU. Always one of the most talented football teams that any school will face. Lastly, for me to open, this team has a model for being successful after being 3-3 when you've played a couple of games that you felt you should have been better in. Last year, it was LSU and Columbia and Alabama and Tuscaloosa. This year, it's a game in Columbia, Missouri, or a game, the other night in Baton Rouge. But for almost everyone out there, this 3-3 seems a lot different than last year's 3-3. When you hit the third loss last season, it was that game in Tuscaloosa where just one or two things, but you played well. And then you went on a 6-game win streak. Does it feel like this team is capable, with the schedule in front of it, of winning its final 6 regular season games? You can only win one at a time. And Terry, Saturday afternoon's game feels to me very winnable. I don't know how Oklahoma is feeling. I'll come back around a little bit later on in the show to something I threw out while I was watching the Oklahoma game. South Carolina is currently, I believe, a 4.5-point home dog. Computers giving them 50, or I think it's giving Oklahoma like a 55% chance. So I'm not going to call it a toss-up. Oklahoma, I think, is probably a little bit better, but Mateer was clearly not ready to play the other day, and I felt badly for him because I know how much he wanted to play, how much they needed him to play, but he was bad. And how healed is he after having surgery just a couple of weeks ago? We shall see. But you can't win 6 in a row if you don't win 1 in a row. And this team has made a change up front. Let's see what happens with Sean Elliott taking that part of the game over, how much they can build upon a good rush attempt or a rush effort and try to stay in this game with Oklahoma. Because of all of them that you have left, this one, if you want to try to do anything close to what you did last year, I would call Saturday a must-win game.
Well, first of all, my little notes for the Open got turned sideways because I was going to start with, you did a lot of good things in Baton Rouge to win. You just did. You ran for over 200 because you know what? We need to find the person who puts sack yards with the rushing numbers, and we need to do bad things to them because it's the most asinine stat. You ran for over 200 yards. You had an explosive play, 72-yard touchdown. You forced 3 turnovers, 2 deep in your own territory to avoid scores. You held LSU at home to 20 points. If I laid all that out to you and said, what do you think the chances are to pull W, Jay? What would you say to me?
Yeah, a solid effort.
Pretty bleeping
solid
good, right?
Chance. Yeah, no question.
But when your quarterback's pressure on 65% of his throws, when your quarterback broke 12 tackles on Saturday, 10 in scramble mode, oh my God, I'm going to die if I don't get out of here. When you constantly get penalties, I've listed all the drives in that football game in LSU territory where you had a penalty or a sack that killed your drive. Think about this, Jay. You spent 5 or 6 drives in LSU territory. You never once got in the red zone.
Right.
Run that through your skull really quick. That's almost on purpose, right? It's almost like you call everybody over and go, fellas, you understand with the LSU 37, we can't go inside that 25. I mean, that's got to drive. Shane Beamer's got to be going insane watching that tape because you did enough good things to walk out of there with a win, man. But the biggest things, once again, like we've been saying, self-inflicted stuff. Everybody's got to know the snap count. This ain't hard. Stuff, just self-inflicted wounds, breakdowns in pass protection. And it's not just the O-line. Shane said it. You got a bunch of guys who are breaking down in pass protection. Are there times Linares has got to get that thing out? Sure. The entire pass offense has just been stuck in the mud. But the thing about this football team for 4 years that I've been here is the offensive line has never consistently been good.
Right.
Never.
Right.
And all this starts right there. And the thing, not to put, look, the defense couldn't tackle against Vandy and Missouri. I get it. Offense couldn't run the ball against Missouri. Vandy Sellers got knocked out. It's not one thing, but if we sat there and you and I listed, okay, what's the number one thing that's got to get right to help this team move forward if we hope they can salvage the season, it's the offensive line. And that can be the thing. If you can get, and I'm not saying go from where you're at now to getting the Joe Moore Award, dude. I'm just saying get to the point where, A, we all leave on the same snap count, and B, you can at least hold your own. Isn't that where we're at?
Yeah.
Hold your own.
Yeah.
That's where this thing's got to be. Look, Oklahoma, yeah. Not a team that's going to, run you over. They can't run the ball either. They have trouble running the football. Mateer, we don't know what percentage he's going to be on Saturday because he was like negative 100% against Texas, right?
Yeah.
He really struggled. But right now, coming up in closing, here are the defenses you're facing. Texas A&M number 11 in defensive efficiency. Oklahoma number 3. That's better than LSU.
Right.
You're facing an Ole Miss team that's top 20 in defensive efficiency. You've got Alabama 13th in defensive efficiency in the SEC. Those are your SEC games coming up against high-quality defensive teams. You got to get your offensive line in gear if you hope to win.
Yeah. It's that simple. It's that simple. So, and it takes a big boost of confidence. Let's hear from you guys, 803-404-6100. A lot of you that have hit us on Twitter, we'll get into a lot of that already. Again, whether it's the AAA phone lines or the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100. Let you hear from Shane on the Lonnie Teasley dismissal and, of course, big stories all around college football, including a now vacant job in State College, Pennsylvania. You're listening to the Reaction Monday postgame show. Love telling you about our friends at Integrated Media, how you watch and what you watch. You want to do it better? I'm looking ahead to all of the festivities of the holiday season, whether it's playoff football, all your favorite, holiday shows when Santa's running around with the elves and the reindeer. You know how that goes. Kids like that stuff, too. Do it better with Integrated Media. What a great time to call Integrated Media, too, for the end of football season, start of the holidays, and then the big games are coming up in January and February. 803-948-8327. Amazing Samsung and Sony televisions. Fantastic Dolby Atmos sound all through the house. Maybe you want an outdoor home theater system. Maybe you love everything you have, but your streaming and gaming is like all spotty and gets all pixely. Maybe it's time for commercial-grade Wi-Fi built for the, home user. They can do that for you, too, and so much more. Call them up. Get them into your house. They make house calls, 803-948-8327. My friends at Integrated Media. All right, welcome back in. Reaction Monday rolling on. Jay and Terry with you inside the Herndon Chevy Studios. Jalen is at Master Control, 803-404-6100. Real quick, just a couple of house cleaning things for you. Carolina, Alabama has been announced as a 3:30 ABC kickoff. So the game of the week at Williams-Brice. So that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing. Who does Alabama have?
Alabama's a thing.
Alabama's got Tennessee this weekend.
Yes, they do. Alabama's become a thing.
Yeah. Florida State has not.
No, it's funny. Sometimes, we say it all the time in sports, sometimes a good butt kicking
best thing
is the best thing for you,
Absolutely.
man.
Well, I mean, we knew Bama was loaded, so they'll be fine.
And Ty Simpson, man.
He's great.
He's playing
great.
really good football
He's
right
got
now.
a great quarterbacks coach, head coach, and coordinator with him. He's bided his time. He's solid, man.
Look, let's say this. And we talked. It's not like we didn't know. But when they got Ryan Grubb back from his little hangout in the NFL for a year, and you got reunited and, they kissed and made up, him and DeBoer and everything else, and Grubb is really – hey, he got Michael Penix paid.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And just to be sure, if you didn't see, Carolina, Oklahoma is officially the 12:45. We had told you all week that it would be noon or 12:45.
You going to come hang out at 7:30 with our Gamecocks game day pregame? Tyler and I can be special guests at 7:30?
No, I don't think.
You don't think you're going to do that?
Done my time. Like I told you, 17 years worth. So that's you guys now. You guys are the new ones here in town. If I had only done 17 months of it, I would still not come.
Oh, wow.
But I did 17.
Well, here's the good.
After 17 years of it.
Here's the good news. I just thought of this. Is like I set up the schedule when the year started. This is Elijah and Tyler's.
Oh, good. Well, they're young.
Yeah, they can bounce back quicker than me.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, they're good. They'll be all right.
803-404-6100. Matt is going to lead off today as we talk Carolina, LSU, and more. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Matt.
Hey, guys, how's it going? I'm a diehard Carolina fan. I'm out here in Texas and right up the road from College Station, and, I'll try to watch my Gamecocks every week. But, it baffles me that as long as I've been watching the Gamecocks, they're the only college team that I've seen digress instead of progress. You got talent, you got players, and when are someone going to start looking at the coaching? Just like we talk about the line and all of that stuff, we got speedy receivers, but you never see any quick pass plays across the middle or dump offs right across the middle to get these guys in stride running. When we're going to look at the head coach and say, hey, something is wrong with this pitcher, just give me some ideas of what's going on. We see all the other colleges, the Vanderbilts of the world and all, start to progress, but Carolina, with all the talent, seem to be stuck in one spot. So give me some ideas, guys. What do you think? I just never had faith in the head coach, and I would tell you that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt. We appreciate you, man.
I look at it like this. I think Shane, we've talked about this a bunch, and I realize that there are, listen, for any coach in any sport anywhere, there are going to be varying degrees of support for whoever's in charge. I will give Shane the benefit of the doubt in this sense. When there have been troubles mid-season, we have seen him do his best to address them. We go back a few years to Marcus Satterfield, who was simply calling way too many different plays. There seemed to be a lack of regard for on-field personnel at the time. And eventually Shane went to him and said, dude, seriously, about half the plays that you're calling, you're never going to call again. It wasn't so much a simplification of the offense as an elimination of things that were just extraneous. They didn't need to be there.
Again, he cut that Denny's menu in half with the scissors, got rid of the filet mignon and the salmon.
You don't need all that.
And just stay with the moons over my hammy.
Right. The following year, there were issues with the defense, and he went to Clayton and said, hey, adjust here, shape it up a little bit. Let's take better advantage of the talent that we have. You saw a noticeable improvement. Now here we are, and Shane has let go of Lonnie Teasley. Shane swears it's not a scapegoat situation, and again, we'll let you hear from him in just a minute on that. But that it's been a collective look at where things aren't happening. So perhaps, Matt, to your point, especially about the pass game this year, how much of it is about the calls that Mike Shula is making relative to how his players are executing those calls? And I'm not saying it's 100% and 0%. There is certainly a blend and a mix. But I will give the head coach for now, as I say, benefit of the doubt in the sense that we have seen him address these things. Now, look, I know what a lot of you are saying. Jay, why don't they address that crap before the season and then just get better during the year? Well, sure. And I don't have an answer for that other than I think they have, or believe at least, that they have done the things necessary to get them started. This season clearly is a departure from some of that. Now, again, you're halfway through. You have an opportunity, and you took it. And we know Sean Elliott can coach offensive line. I don't know how directly involved Sean has been with how he likes to coach and teach relative to what Lonnie was doing. But now it's going to be Sean.
Right.
So let's see what type of difference, if any, this makes. I believe it can, but there's only one way to tell.
Well, I just had somebody hit me up. How do you think it's going to go from being a problem for 4 years to be able to hold their own? That's delusional. What the hell you want to do, man? You want to sit around and just whine and moan about the offensive line and not do anything? And then when you try to do something, you go, well, it's not going to work anyway. Well, what do you want to do besides sit in your underwear and watch TV at your house? You got to do something. Look, nobody likes to see anybody lose a gig, like you said. Nobody. Hell, I've lost gigs. In radio, here's the line. You haven't been in radio till you get fired. I've seen my friends get fired. Nobody likes to see people lose their jobs. But this reached a point where something had to happen. I think everybody watching that game Saturday was like, you can't go on like this. Your quarterback can't get pressured on 65% of his throws. You can't run for -9 yards against someone. You got to be able to line up and everybody snap on the same count. I mean, you got to start somewhere to move forward, and you got a guy who was a high-level offensive line coach back in the day. Now, can he repeat it? God, we hope so. But if you want to get anything out of this season, like you said, salvageable, well, it starts with your offensive line having to get better. And I think this was the move you had to make if you were Shane. Like you said, an in-season adjustment. Now we can move on and the other things, whether it's, like you said, coaching offensively, is it players offensively, is the system fitting the skill set? Whatever it is from this point, it all has to start with your offensive line cannot get run over the way it's been run over through these last.
It can't. And look, I don't know if this move is made if there isn't someone like Sean on staff for you to be able to lean upon instantly and who will immediately bring a high level of expertise. You probably do anyway.
But it makes it easier when you can turn and see that guy.
Yeah, but as Shane pointed out, at 4 o'clock in the morning when they landed and got back to the house, he's like, he'd been watching film on the plane ride back and everything else, and okay. And you really do. Sadly, you got to make that call instantly.
Yeah.
When you're ready to make it, you can't wait till Wednesday.
No, you got to pull the trigger
because you got a new. I mean, really, practice for Oklahoma started yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. And to the point, just real fat. Matt was the caller, right?
Yes.
Matt, think about this. Okay, you look at the offense line. You got a 5-star in Josiah Thompson. He's regressed this year. Let's just be honest. Could be some injury stuff in there, but he's regressed. You got 4 stars here on this offensive line as well. Like Tree was a 4-star coming out of high school. You got guys coming through the portal to South Carolina this year who were solid offensive linemen in other stops. Yeah. You've got the pieces here for an offensive line, and you got depth. And you had Case and Henry, and again, you lost him in injury, and I understand that. But you got guys in this offensive line who should be in multiple years in this program better than they are. Yeah. And I think that, to Matt's point, does that go back to coaching? Well, something's not connecting with the coaches in the offensive line because these guys, for the most part, aren't progressing in the way you'd like to see them.
Yeah. Matt, great phone call, and certainly appreciate you listening to us out in Texas.
How about that guy?
Yeah.
Go see Langston. Give him Langston's address.
All right. I'll
go over to Langston's house.
I'll shoot it to you.
You listen together.
He'll probably go see the Gamecocks when they hit College Station.
Why not?
Yeah.
He says he's not far.
Not that far.
Langston will drive.
All right, I tell you what, sit tight. Lots of phone calls to get to it. Matt, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. We'll more on the other side, 803-404-6100, and we will. It's only about a 2-minute clip. We'll let you hear Shane's explanation of how he parted ways with Lonnie Teasley yesterday. This is the postgame show. Griffin Pools and Spas is your authorized Latham fiberglass dealer, Imperial vinyl pool dealer, and their end of the year sale starts in just a couple of days on in-ground pools. I know it's mid-October. Not really a great time to enjoy your pool on a regular basis, but what if you got ahead of next year's rush? And what if you could take advantage of some terrific discounts and factory incentives on those kinds of things like in-ground pools or all their spas just in time for this cooler weather? Go see Griffin Pools and Spas, 1348 North Lake Drive. Visit with factory reps, save thousands on an in-ground pool, and be swim ready next spring. Let the Griffin family help your family create a backyard oasis. The end of the year sale starts on the 16th, runs through the 18th at Griffin Pools and Spas. Learn more now at griffinpoolsandspas.com.
When you win the turnover battle, which we did, till that last sack, we were over 200 yards rushing. When you ran the ball, when you win the turnover battle, you win time of possession. When you do all that, you should win the game. And we had our opportunities, and that was the story tonight. Just missed opportunities and not finishing drives.
Not finishing, inconsistency, a lot of things that seem to just plague this team that now sits at 3-3, 1-3 in the league. Welcome back in. That was Coach Beamer in postgame. Once again, if you just tuned in, and maybe you didn't hear it yesterday, but Lonnie Teasley, who's been with South Carolina's program since Shane came in. First, he was sort of an analyst under Greg Adkins. He's been the offensive line coach the last couple of years. He's a terrific recruiter, nice guy, good family. But obviously things up front have not gone well at all for South Carolina. And after the halfway point of the season on the flight back home, and really, as Shane says, when landing, made the decision yesterday to part ways with Lonnie. Here is Coach Beamer on his Sunday afternoon teleconference with a further explanation.
First of all, Lonnie is a fantastic coach, fantastic person, has an unbelievable family, and these decisions aren't easy, and I hurt for him and his family. I watched the tape of the game on my iPad on the plane, and after getting done watching it, and it wasn't just from last night, it was, thinking about kind of where we are and overall body of work on the offensive line, and really us as an offense right now. And looking at the overall body of work, I felt like the best decision for our team was to make a change with the offensive line. I got back to my house last night at, I think, 4 in the morning is when I walked in my house. Knew Jeremiah Donati was awake because he was on the plane with us, so I called Jeremiah at 4:18 a.m. and I talked to him for a little bit about where my head was and what I was thinking, and make sure he was okay with it. He was. Went to bed, slept for about an hour, and then I've been back here in the office since then, and met with Lonnie this morning and informed him of my decision.
There you go. Sean Elliott, as we said, will take over. Obviously, Sean has tremendous long-time experience as an offensive line coach. Did it for many years successfully under Steve Spurrier. Again, the famous story in so many words of texting Steve to tell him how much he wanted the job. Like, I can help you. And Steve was like, all right, well, let's get this guy. And, then that offense.
Isn't that so Spurrier, though?
Yeah, well, but listen, the offense that Steve and GA and Sean ran together for all those years was fantastic. Yeah. It really was. And a lot of that is obviously about the talent that you have around you, too, but there's talent here. And you talked about some of the talent, and you know what you have at quarterback. Mm-hmm. You've got some receivers that are good at what they do. Brady Hunt, Jordan Dingle, these are good tight ends, man. Rasul Faison had a nice night the other night.
He played well.
Matthew Fuller, I think, is showing promise. And again, we're not quite sure of everything that's going on as to why Matt didn't play in the second half. I don't know if that's like, oh, yeah, we have Matt Fuller, or if he was dinged up, or if it's about what he's doing without the football. Is it a host of things? Who knows? But I don't want to try to create too much of a story there. I know Jordan Kay has had some things out about that at the state paper.
He just said the quote, I guess, from Beamer. He needed to be back out there to my Fuller. He needed to be back out there. I told the coaches at halftime, give the freaking ball to Matt Fuller in the second half. So ended up with overall 7 carries for 83 yards.
Well, and he had that, and he hit a home run.
He did. Had a massive home run.
That's what you want to see that from time to time. You're not going to do it every time, but you want to see somebody that has that big play explosiveness.
Because once you get that kind of run, man,
well, you feel great.
You're ready to roll, right?
You feel great. And we saw Raheem Sanders do that a couple of times last year. But when you have it, you've got to find a way to utilize it. So not really sure. I don't think his participation will be an issue moving forward.
Not at all. So I totally agree.
But now again, I can't sit here and go, hey, all right, well, Sean's going to fix it instantly. And then you said you had somebody hit you up and say, well, how do you expect it to go? I don't think anybody expects it to turn into one of the top 10 offensive lines in the country, but it's got to get better.
Well, you got to try something, maybe a new voice, maybe a new way of just coming at this. You got to try. To me,
well,
again,
doing nothing is foolish.
That's delusional and insane.
And so that's why I said,
nothing.
and look, Shane doesn't need me to defend him. Shane makes $8 million a year, all right? So I'm not defending Shane here when I say that I think he's earned the trust or benefit of the doubt, depending on how you want to look at it, because we've seen him make in-season adjustments.
Right.
This is, to my knowledge, this is the first time that he's fired a staffer during the season. Now, again, with Satterfield, obviously Marcus didn't get fired because he still needed to make the play calls. It's just that Shane took away, again, half of the playbook.
Right. He just said, man, we got to streamline here, okay?
So, so there's that. And then the same things that he did, but he was never going to fire Clayton because I think he loves Clayton. And I think Clayton's earned the opportunity to do
Clayton
what
was
he's
just
doing.
like, man, look, what we're doing now ain't working. Come up with it. Go in the lab and figure out something where we can get some pass rush and we can do some coverage stuff. But, yeah, I just think when you're the head coach, again, one of the things we see, and while I'll give Shane credit what he's done midseason over the years, a lot of head coaches, if they're an offensive-minded guy or they were a former offensive coordinator, they won't touch the defensive coordinator. They let him do everything with autonomy and whatever. I've always said, man, when you're the head coach, you can go say, look, man, I never ran defense, but I know I don't like this, so I need you to do this or that. Thanks for everything. I'll talk to you later. Bring me a coffee.
Right.
You're not changing things because you don't know how to do it, but it's your job to go tell the defensive coordinator, this type of defense you're running is not working, and we've got to go do something different.
Look, I know it's rare, and I'm not here to directly compare Shane Beamer to the two men I'm going to mention to you, but I hear that a lot. Well, Shane was never a coordinator. He's just not ready. Urban Meyer was never a coordinator. Dabo Swinney was never a coordinator. They both have multiple national championships. Now, I'm not saying Shane's going to go win multiple national championships. I have no idea. But I don't, and I understand why being a coordinator on one side or another is advantageous. So I'm not saying that it should be completely discounted. But there are exceptions to the rule, including one very close by. And I think Shane's coached so many positions, knows, I mean, however much people want to compare him to his father or tie him to his father, if maybe not compare, but tie, all right, well, pretty good role model.
Yeah, not bad.
You know, in terms of how to deal with people, how to see things unfold, how to make adjustments accordingly. So again, I think Shane has earned some of that benefit of the doubt. And if you don't feel that way, you don't feel that way. That's fine.
I mean, look, we'll see what Sean Elliott can do with this offensive line. Again, look, no one's sitting here saying all of a sudden they're going to be phenomenal. What we're saying is, so let's start with lining up and everybody go at the same snap count. Why don't we start there? And then we'll move on from that low bar. And hopefully, maybe to the streamline. Look, we don't know. You know, they took all of our bugs out of the office. We can't hear them anymore. But what we do know is maybe it's just as simple as, okay, if you're Sean Elliott and now everybody sits down, you got your offensive lineman, and you are the run game coordinator, and now we've streamlined the voices in the room, right? So maybe that's a good thing. So maybe you can sit down and say, okay, now here's how I want to do the run game, because here's the strengths of our offensive linemen. Maybe we need to change protections because here are the strengths of our offensive linemen in pass pro. Maybe some of these guys can't move their feet. Maybe some guys can't do this. Maybe they're not as mobile. But whatever, dude. Right. I don't know.
No, I get it.
But maybe the tweaking can just be looking at the strengths of the guys in that room and saying, let's play to that.
Let's get back on the phones. Justin up next. Hey, Justin, how you doing, bud?
Doing good. How about you guys?
Good,
hey,
man.
Justin, what's up?
Hey, guys, I think it was the black they did because Saka, they need a new voice for the offensive line. Hopefully Sean got the music back with for them today. I say back for James Franklin, he knew this was coming, you know. And the thing about Penn State, who they go get? Like I say, I hope that they will get somebody, because if they don't, they go look back a couple years that, man, we should not sign this guy. It's going to come back and bite them in the ass.
Maybe so, man.
Justin,
thank you.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Look, it was, again, for the Carolina part, like as we said, you have to do something differently. And Sean has a proven track record of success. Now let's see what happens. Now you go play football with something different.
Hopefully it gets going in the right direction. That's all you can ask.
It didn't just hey, block different.
Right.
You know, it's
Hey, that guy hit him.
yeah, just
Thanks.
you go. I don't get in the way, stand there.
Appreciate
Yeah, but in all seriousness, and again, I don't like to directly compare the talent levels and stuff. I understand the differences, trust me. But we talked about it a couple of times. Georgia, the win in Knoxville, 0 procedural penalties from the
They
offensive
have people
line.
in the stands, don't they?
Yeah. So it's just, those are it's those things, those fine margins, especially in road games. And you've got to find a way to fix them. As for Penn State, we'll talk more about that later on, Justin, but they will I think it's going to be one of two people. I'll tell you who.
We'll get into it.
In a
One
bit,
is very obvious.
well, I think both are obvious, but I'll tell you why. But I think there's a 1A and a 1B, and I would be surprised if it's someone other than those.
Absolutely.
It's the postgame show. 10 minutes in front of 4 o'clock here on this Monday afternoon. Welcome back in. Jay, Terry, Jalen with you. 803-404-6100. Got a lot of hits on Twitter that I want to get to. I'm not discounting any of those as well, but if you hit us up on the phone line, we'll get to you with your thoughts, or on the Firehouse Subs text line. That's the AAA phone lines, or the Firehouse Subs text line. In the meantime, I'll turn it over to Terry Ford.
That really sucked. You know what really sucked? If you woke up early yesterday morning and watched that debacle from, was that London? Where the hell was that mess from?
London, Tottenham. Well, it depends on one's point of view specifically, Terry Ford.
Did it suck for you, Jay?
Nope.
Why?
Because it was a Bronco win, but it was a really ugly game.
I will give you a stat.
It was a really...
This really sucked. -10. You know what -10 is, Jay? The amount of people that were watching by the end? No. You want to give it a shot?
-10 Jet rush yards.
Oh no, they actually ran for 92.
Yeah, they did okay.
Only 3 yards a carry. -10 was the passing yards.
Okay.
For the New York Jets. Yes. In 2025, where teams throw the ball 60% of the time.
Yeah.
The New York Jets found a way to have negative passing yards when you add the sacks in.
Well, Denver was all over them defensively.
9 sacks for -55 yards, which means you still only threw for 45 yards.
Right.
Justin Fields was 9 of 17 for 45 yards. Ready for this? 2.5 yards an attempt, Jay.
Did you watch any of that? I'm just curious.
Very little.
Okay, well, if you want to see something that is going to be one of the more bizarre coaching decisions of the season, go back and watch the final minute and a half. New York had the ball, and they got the ball to start the half. And they basically just stood there.
It was so bad. I saw it.
It was surreal.
It was so
it's
bad.
like you're not trying. And I don't know, I forget which player it was that wasn't like screaming at Aaron Glenn, the Jet head coach, but was certainly like...
Oh, Garrett Wilson. It was Garrett Wilson. I read about it.
He's like,
Garrett Wilson.
He's like, you could just tell the body language was coach.
He didn't know what to do.
Like what? And he didn't, because Denver was so in their face. But you have to attempt something. I mean, to not even try to get into field goal range, knowing you get the ball to start the half.
Right.
And Aaron Glenn seemed content.
Well, I'm sitting here.
Almost like, no, this is a good decision. It was bizarre.
It was crazy. Basically, to your point, the Jets had the ball with a minute left and only ran 3 plays the rest of the half.
No, but I'm telling you.
Yeah, so I mean, they didn't know what to do.
They didn't know what to do.
That's my point. There was no timeouts called. There was nothing going on.
And I think they had 2 timeouts.
Just stood there.
I think they had 2 timeouts left. I mean, it was weird. It's like you can go. Most coaches are like, hey, we're at the 50. We got 2 timeouts. We got around a minute. I got more than enough
to
time
win the game.
Yeah, I got more than enough time.
Look, God love Aaron Glenn. He'd been waiting for this opportunity. He played for the Jets. 0-6.
Well, they're terrible. And look, Denver's better than they looked yesterday. I don't know if this. Look,
did they get bored to death or something?
I don't know.
Did they drink too much, like at a pub?
Denver, they ran a little bit. I don't know that Sean was really opening things up. And I think Denver has been away from home for so long. I'm not trying to make excuses. They won the football game. And 2 of the 11 points that the Jets scored were on a safety where Denver was holding in the end zone.
Right.
Which was really unfortunate.
I saw that highlight.
But the Jets couldn't do. I mean, Denver fumbled on the first drive of the game, and the Jets kicked a field goal, and that was basically like it.
That was the rest. It was like that for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
85 total offensive yards by the Jets.
It's embarrassing. I mean, it's just awful and embarrassing. And here's the thing: as bad as they have been, they're worse this year than they were last year or the year before.
Well, I tweeted out awful announcing. I forget the author. I apologize, but awful announcing. One of their guys had a pretty good piece today on the Jets, and just how miserable a franchise they are. And if you're a Jet fan, I really am sorry, because you got nothing to give you any modicum of hope that you're going to.
No, there's no hope, because you know what? You can change coaches, you can change GMs, you can change quarterbacks, you can change players. You know what you can't change?
Yeah, the owner.
The owner.
And he doesn't know what he's doing. They haven't been to the playoffs in 15 years.
Think about that,
2009.
NFL.
Yeah.
The NFL.
Yeah, where you should be able, but because of the scheduling and the drafting,
And the
you should
cap.
be able to backdoor your way at least once into like a 9-7.
Hell, the Browns have been in the
Right,
playoffs.
and a wild card spot. But the Jets are wretchedly bad.
They need Rex Ryan back.
Yeah,
maybe.
that's it. And his feet.
Or, some good players, our two
That would
coming
help.
up. Just a few days' time, we're going to see you at the brand new U.S. Brick Exterior Design Center, 300 UG Street, right near the ballpark. U.S. Brick is a leading American-owned brick manufacturer, building materials supplier, plants in South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, and Indiana. But their Columbia facility and their home produces residential, commercial, and authentic tumbled bricks. The new Exterior Design Center downtown showcases all of these collections alongside a huge range of complementary materials, outdoor living solutions. If you are building a home from the ground up, choose brick. Making some great enhancements and improvements in the backyard, maybe fire features, retaining walls, do it with brick. The space features dedicated workspaces, project planning resources for pros and homeowners. You can stop by anytime, Monday through Friday, and learn a whole lot more. We'll see you out there on Thursday. Hope you come see us, get a consultation, and get building with U.S. Brick. 4 o'clock on this Monday. Welcome back in. Second hour of the postgame show coming at you from downtown Herndon Chevy Studios. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford with you on this Monday. Jalen Tart at Master Control, reacting to Carolina's 2010 loss in Baton Rouge. Carolina falls to 3-3, 1-3 now in conference play. Right back at it Saturday afternoon at Williams-Brice. 12:45 is the kick time. Oklahoma comes to town, and let me double check and see if it's changed. I haven't looked since about 11 o'clock. Carolina, they opened at 4.5. Let's see if it's still there. You think it's still there?
No.
Let's see. You're right. It's now 5.5.
Over under still 44, 43 or whatever?
43.5 over under. And
hey, you know what?
The computer is 55% in favor of Oklahoma.
I think I'm going with the under again, Jay. Off the top of my head. I think I'm rolling the under.
Yeah, probably so. Probably so. I could maybe see 27-24 and go a little higher. I don't know. It depends. I just, look, South Carolina, by now, most of you know, Lonnie Teasley was fired yesterday, and Sean Elliott will take over as Carolina's offensive line coach for the remainder of the season, potentially, obviously, beyond. We'll let the season play out before any of those higher level and longer term decisions are made. I want to get to a lot of you hit me on Twitter, so I want to get to those two and be as fair to you as possible. But if you want to weigh in, AAA phone lines 803-404-6100. Same phone number for the Firehouse Subs text line 803-404-6100. I've got positives, I've got negatives. I'll start with a positive. I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
Mitch hits us, says, I'm going to show some positivity with this team for once.
For once.
He wrote a long one here. When I sum up this team so far, I'll be quick to say that the defense is who they are. They will keep us in games, nothing amazing and certainly not below average. Our offense can get better, in my opinion, and it starts with getting rid of false starts and pre-snap issues. I don't know why these plague this team in between the opponent's side of the 25 to 40-yard line so much, but it's almost always in that area of the field. You kill that crap, you maintain drives. Terry, that was a point you made earlier about not being able seemingly to advance inside the 25-yard line. Mitch concludes, our running game has dramatically improved the last two games. I think that's really flown under the radar. It amazes me that this didn't open up the pass game more, but I know Sellers doesn't have a ton of time to throw. We will see what happens. That's a good one, Mitch, and yes, and that's, listen, I think getting rid of false starts and pre-snap issues, that is a huge part. It's not the reason, but it's the, I think, predominant reason that a new voice will come in to the offensive line.
Yeah,
I just
get everybody on the same page.
What's being taught or how it's being taught, whatever, is that's being changed.
Yeah, it just whatever was being attempted or tried just wasn't working.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, you're 6 games into this thing. You're sitting at 3-3, and the obvious issue, and it's not the only issue, but the obvious issue is offensive line play. That you got to try to do something to get that thing turned around.
Joe says, echoes in a much more succinct way, self-inflicted wounds and bad offense.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Joe says on Twitter. Albert says this 3-3 is light years away from last season's 3-3. Sadly, we'll be 3-7 headed into Coastal. Lots of tough questions need to be asked around this program. Well, you certainly hope they're not 3-7.
No.
They are not going to be favored to win any of these games. And in fact, this game Saturday of the 4 coming up certainly is the best chance for you to win.
I think the 2 points,
at least in terms of the computer.
Yeah, by the Oklahoma game, absolutely, because Oklahoma's had some offensive issues. You don't know how healthy the quarterback will be, and he's been the offense.
Yes. Again, I feel bad for that kid the other day.
Yeah, he was,
because they needed him.
He wasn't right,
and he was not.
No,
he was not right.
No, and they just.
And did you? Is that something that has him regress?
I don't know, because to me, you and I had this conversation going into last week's game for Oklahoma, Texas. It's like, look, if Mateer's not 100%, there's got to be an adult in the room to say, bro, sit out another week. Look, Hawkins isn't Mateer, but you can't put a guy out there less than 100% when he means that much to your offense. You just can't. And Mateer obviously wasn't himself. He wasn't right. 3 picks, two were on him. 1 was off the receiver's hands. They can't. Look, we talk about South Carolina real quick. and how it's all Lenoris, it might not be to that extent, but it's not far off at Oklahoma.
No, it's
Mateer, they can't run the ball. Their wide receivers have ability, but Mateer's got to be the guy to make that engine go. And if he's not 100% this Saturday still, again, you're going up against a defense that's even a little bit better than LSU, but you have an opportunity to win this game. But again, like we've been talking about, Jay, self-inflicted wounds have to stop. And the other thing is inconsistency.
Right.
One series, you and I will go, man, that was great. The next series we go like this. What the hell was that?
Yeah. Well, and I think the self-inflicted again, and this has been a theme that we talked about all year. The first thing you have to do is not beat yourself. If you get beat by the other guy, it's sports. So be it. But when you know that a massive part of the equation this year in your losses, and let's face it, even in a couple of your wins, you've been doing stupid stuff. You've been doing stuff that's very avoidable. That just can't be allowed to continue.
Now, when you lose a game and the opposition comes in and gives you a game ball,
I mean,
thanks for helping us, man.
Well,
Without you, we couldn't have
about
won.
it. Missouri, 14 penalties, and over half were procedural. The other night, same thing, 13 penalties, over half are procedural. That's just it's unforgivable. And look, now there's been a change.
Yeah, Jay. You look at all this. You have a drive with the LSU 39 illegal snap. You back up 5 yards. Now you're sitting at a second 13 from a second and 8 already. You have a couple of grounding penalties because the heat is so much on Lenoris. You've got, again, illegal snap, which is a new one to me. I've heard way too much this year.
I still don't really know what happened on that play.
And then the fake punt. And look, is that why you lost? No. But that fake punt was huge. And we might never get an explanation on that thing.
Shane said on the teleconference that he got one. That it has to be private. And I think in so many words he said, and it was basically what I thought they were going to tell me.
Yeah.
Now, I want to be really careful here because I do not know. My gut tells me, Coach, they screwed that.
We bleeped that up. Because, again, when you're watching it, and I watched it more than once because I'm trying to figure out what was going on. You got one official walking up to Love, the punter, right? Kind of putting his hand about, how they get in front of the ball and they got to give the defense time to set. Yeah. And he kind of does that, which is interesting in the first place. Then he backs off. There's nobody else anywhere. Then you snap the ball. And by the way, excellent job on the fake. Let's give props.
It was beautiful. It's a beauty.
And all of a sudden,
they're really
flag,
good at that stuff.
And you got some weird call that somebody made up. And then you're going, what the hell was that exactly? Now, again, it's not why you lost. But it contributed to your troubles because you had got the ball, you'd had a first down, you're in the middle of the third quarter.
Well, it's a difference maker,
and I don't know what you could do from there. The way it was going, you probably would have had a procedure call and been 2nd and 15. But my point is, that was a play that does matter in this football game.
Sure.
Momentum-wise, if nothing else.
Right.
And I've watched it 5 times. I don't. I'm sorry, man.
I don't. And I threw that out during the game. I don't tweet a lot during games, but I did throw that one out. And I was like, what did we just see? What just happened?
And that goes back to the weirdness in the Auburn game with Georgia where a couple things happened. And look,
did you hear the stat? Let me give you something real quick. Josh Pate said this on his show last night. From the 2-minute warning until halftime at Jordan Hare, 34 minutes of real time. From the 2-minute warning until halftime.
Are you serious?
Was 34 minutes of real time.
34 minutes. Please hit me in the face with a frying pan or something. Oh, my God.
That's unforgivable.
It's insane.
As well. Yeah.
But that's the thing. That goes to the bigger issue.
By the way, was it a fumble or not?
Oh, I've seen only one replay of it. So I haven't seen it enough from enough angles to get my point of view. My first thought is it was, but I got to see it better.
I thought the ball was indeed moving before
I thought,
it crossed.
And to be fair, I didn't see it enough. But when I saw the one, it looked like a fumble.
I thought the ball was coming out. Now, was it like gone? No. But was it coming out? I thought the ball was coming out.
I thought it was a fumble. But I tell you, the phantom timeout was interesting. Oh, clapping, not clapping. Timeout, not timeout.
Well, that's the thing. That one, too. Like, what was he doing? I think he might.
I don't know.
I'm not here. Again, look, if I told you earlier that Shane Beamer makes $8 million a year and doesn't need me to defend him, Kirby makes 11 or 12 or 13 a year. He certainly doesn't. I think he might have been doing that, like in his head, going, they're clapping. They can't do that. And then it's like, well, wait, what are you doing?
Right.
So there's a part of me that will give Kirby the benefit of the doubt rather than them saying that he's just making it up, or they
Right.
like.
Or he's-
But if you see the SEC shorts, by the way, and if y'all haven't seen it yet,
no.
well, I don't want to give it away then.
How good is it?
Well, just the portion with Kirby. Again, I don't want to give it away.
Okay.
But
All right.
please watch the SEC shorts.
SEC
Again,
shorts is so good.
every Sunday they do something that's even better.
It's gold.
But I'm just going to say that the Kirby portion of yesterday's SEC shorts, because again, if I give it away, then it's not nearly as fun for you. So.
I mean, and look.
But I don't know. I again, there's a part of me, there's a shred of me at least. It's like, okay, that's a fair explanation for what he was doing, that he thought Auburn was using claps in an effort to throw
Right.
Georgia's offensive line out of rhythm.
Which teams do.
And I think maybe he had a point
Could have
there.
been.
You know?
I just to me, I know.
But if you hate Kirby in Georgia, you're like,
Oh, absolutely.
I get that part of it too.
Or you go, or you're, and because all the fan bases do it. Auburn fan, SEC hates us. Why? They don't. They are an equal opportunity offender in bad officiating. It's not just for one or two programs.
But to come back to the Carolina one, again, I
don't get it.
and here's the thing too, and just to go back to referencing Josh Pate, he went off on the SEC yesterday on his show. On the things that we've been doing for years in terms of we understand that you need officials have protection at all levels of sport. But for whatever reasons, in college, we don't even get what we get from the pros, where you will at least get a pool reporter. You know, or occasionally a full-on explanation. In college and in the SEC, we get, hey, trust us, we handled it.
That's not good enough.
And
that's not good enough.
It's not.
It's just not good enough.
It's not. So whether it's the Auburn situations, and there were multiple ones, or again, Carolina, like, okay, you negated the play. Why? And all we're going to get, basically, is that the head coach said, I talked to John McDade, and I got what I thought I was going to get.
And here's my point. This isn't a shot at Shane, because Shane's got to, do the double secret handshake under the cone of silence and all that, because he's agreed to it to get an explanation, and he can't share it. But the SEC should be getting up, and they should be sharing, okay, why was this call made? What was the situation? And let people know, look, the days of hiding of this is gone. Everything's transparent, bro. Nothing in this world. I mean, if you're doing the electric slide at a bar, some goof grabs his phone and puts it on video, right?
Right.
The idea that we're hiding referees in a bunker is asinine anymore. You got to get up and man up, and you have the head of officials talk about this. The NBA does a 2-minute report.
Yeah.
And now it should be a 48-minute report, but you get a 2-minute report from the NBA. That's better than everybody else, right?
Well, because the first 46 minutes of a game usually don't matter.
It's always the last 2 minutes. But my point is, why can't everybody have some level of transparency in a world
they can.
that is just transparent
They choose
everywhere?
not to. And one of the things I've said about that, and again, as we've said here, we're not here, if you're just tuning in halfway through the conversation, we're not here to say that the fake punt situation cost Carolina the football game. We're not doing that at all, but it was a difference-making play or decision in the game. But one of the things I've said, too, is when you allow, especially the rabid fan bases that make up college football all across the country, not just in this league, all across the country, when you allow them to speculate instead of giving them some fact, it makes it worse for everybody, because the conspiracy theories run rampant.
Oh, the tinfoil hat guy takes over and goes
look, I don't
crazy.
think Carolina fans are looking at that play and going, now maybe that Florida play a couple of years ago, I remember that one, and Greg had to come out, Sankey, and there again, Terry, he was like, hey, trust us, we handled it.
That's not good enough, Greg. Sorry.
Yeah. It's like, well,
not good enough.
Bro, that's how?
Yeah. How'd you handle it?
And why'd they not call it when a dude was basically getting choked? Well, trust us.
No, I'm not.
We handled
no offense.
Okay. Thanks. We'll see. One of these coaches needs to just go ahead and get fined. Drew, sit tight. You're going to bat lead off on the other side here. It's the postgame show. 20 minutes after 4 o'clock on this Monday. Welcome back in, reacting to Carolina's 2010 loss to LSU on Saturday night. And again, a couple of house cleaning things for you, if you will, or housekeeping. Well, housekeeping, same thing.
Same difference.
12:45 this Saturday, Oklahoma. And the reason I say that, you knew it was a day game, an early game, but we didn't know noon or 12:45, so they decided 12:45. And Carolina, Alabama next week has been announced as the 3:30 ABC game of the week.
So Gamecocks game day, 7:30 a.m. this Saturday morning with Elijah and Tyler. Then Gamecocks game day will roll around 10:30 the following Saturday. That's enough sleep for me to get involved in that one.
Good.
So I'll get involved in the Alabama one.
Good for you.
Let the young guys handle the 7:30.
I mean, the 9 o'clock shows were okay from time to time.
9 o'clock.
I didn't mind
anything earlier than 9 o'clock, like that 7:30. I've done the 7:30 ones in the dark.
It was always nice if
7 o'clock in the dark last year,
because we'd get there about 8 and be ready for the show and maybe grab a Bojangles.
Hey, nothing wrong with little Bojangles, man.
Yeah. Or a lot of Bojangles.
I could do that too. I love those biscuits.
Drew has been patient.
Maybe Drew can bring us some Bojangles.
Yeah, why not? Drew?
That's
hey,
right.
Yeah, how you doing, bud?
Well, I would, but I may have a false start.
Good
Guys,
How's it going?
Very nice.
I've been a Gamecock fan since I was 4 years old with my dad, who's passed away, but I've been going to games since I was 4. I'm 52, so it's been a lot. I'm going to try and make this call as calm as I can. I know you have that, must-win game discussion. You don't want to call a game a must-win, but I felt we could beat Oklahoma, even if our O-line continues their putrid play. I still think somehow we can find a W there. Looking at it like every fan does, and then I think we got to steal one between Alabama and A&M, and hopefully we can close out with the final two. That being said, that'll be a massive not failure, but a massive letdown. Seeing we start the season ranked 13th. The next point is, I go back and forth between the O-line coach and Shula. Obviously, the O-line coach is now gone, so I don't have to really get mad at him anymore. But I guess, it just depends on kind of, I guess, how mad I am and what mood I am, who I blame. I'll be very interesting to see, with Lonnie gone, how it shakes out the overall play. I mean, I'm kind of the old school fashion. You are what you are through 5-6 games. I don't see a mass all of a sudden, we're going to become the, run blocking Detroit Lions or a great O-line to that. I just don't see it. But I'll be curious to see, where we can improve. But I still think we can beat Oklahoma with low average line play. The last thing is
Jeez.
Whoops. Sorry about that.
Last thing would have been good. We got right to the last thing.
There's a 5-yarder on us.
Yeah, that was a legal snap.
Yeah,
that's a legal snap.
Drew, call back to make, because I wanted to make that. He was rolling. So
he was rolling. He had one more point.
Drew, hit us back up. We'll get you back.
We'll get your last point in, man.
Yeah. Look, what you can improve. I think he's right. By the way, about beating Oklahoma. If Carolina could come out and play in the same manner that they played against Kentucky, I would like. Now they won't win by 22 points, I wouldn't think, but I think you can beat. I do think you can beat this Oklahoma team, who again is smarting right now. Let me say real quick too, and I don't know. Look, feel how you want. I just was having some fun with this on Saturday afternoon, but I threw this out. All right, we'll get you, Drew. Hang on one second. I said, as the Red River Shootout comes down to the fourth quarter, this is during the game, obviously. I said, what's the best result when it comes to Oklahoma visiting Williams-Brice next week? A, an Oklahoma win. B, a Texas win. C, doesn't matter one bit. Well, 62.5% said doesn't matter one bit.
Okay.
But 22% said Oklahoma winning would be better for them coming in, and only 15% said a Texas win. So
because your thought process is losing 2 in a row, Oklahoma this year.
Yeah.
I get it, but.
Yeah. I just, again,
it's interesting little exercise.
And I probably lean toward the majority.
Yeah.
But anyway, Drew, sorry about that, but make that final point, man. You were doing great.
Hey, no problem. Yeah, so I'll be curious to see how it shakes out. Is Shula still part of the problem, or is he not? I don't know. I don't get paid enough. But last, I worry about the locker room fraction. These kids are human. At some point, you can only hide your frustration and anger and being pissed off at your teammates when you continually on your side of the ball, for the most part, uphold, your end of the bargain. And I just worry, if the O-line and the O just continues like it is, the defense is going to just hit that point. I don't give a what anymore, and those guys aren't helping me, and why should I continue to bust my hump, show up, and keep on carrying the weight when obviously they can't get it done. So I also worry about that, but so I still hope we can get to 6 wins. I think 6 is the ceiling, guys. I hate to say that.
Well, it does kind of feel like it right now, and certainly based on how they
Drew.
play. Thank you, Drew.
Man.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, the schedule's not easy, obviously. Moving forward, the last 4 in the SEC are against ranked teams, all with top 15 defenses, but if you look at efficiency numbers. Think about the locker room.
Well, Terry, 3 of the last 4, these conference games, other than this one this weekend, these are top 10 teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is now like a legitimate time for them to be ranked in the top 10, not preseason.
You've got 4 teams that you're not going to be favored in any of these games. You're just not. Doesn't matter where they're playing. Could be playing over Shane's house, and you're still not going to be favored. And the locker room thing that Drew brings up, this one you need leaders in your locker room, obviously. Because, look, you want your defense to say this. Hey, we're here to pick up the offense because we're going to go out here and pitch a shutout if we have to.
I get where he's coming, and there probably are times in sports or in business, where, some department is doing great, but the other department is they stink. I feel, look, I've heard none of those kind of rumblings ever during Shane's time.
No. I always think the culture is good and solid.
I think that has a lot to do with the type of young man that they go get, whether it's out of high school or out of the portal. So I get it. I'm not saying, Drew, that that's not something that could be an issue, but I wouldn't sweat that one at this point.
Yeah. I go back to a couple years ago when remember that was – they had to win like 4 straight to be bowl eligible, right? And that thing, they lost the backbreaker against Florida and all that stuff. They bounced back and won 3 straight in November and then lost to Clemson, so they couldn't make it. There was no infighting in the locker room, nobody yelling at each other.
Remember, Clemson didn't score an offensive touchdown.
Yes, 4 hours of my life I can never get back.
But man, that opening thing, I was like, what the hell was that?
I know. And you just couldn't move. Your offensive line, you got bum rushed for 4 quarters. God loves Spencer Rattler, still running for his life. Yeah. But there was no locker room fraction or anything like that. The culture stayed strong. And again, they just missed getting back to bowl eligibility. And that was dark, man. You remember that year. You and I sat here. That was rough.
And look, I will absolutely say, missing a bowl game this season I'm not going to say it's going to be a killer, but it obviously would be a massive
when you start the year top 15 preseason.
And really I fully believe that this is not a program that should just get us to a bowl. You've played now from the time of Steve Spurrier, even under Muschamp, and now with Shane. You've played, and I know New Year's Day games aren't what they used to be, and that there are a few more of them.
Hello, but please don't hang up the phone.
Okay,
this is an important message regarding.
Just hang that thing up, Paul. There you go. It's all good. That was an important message. He said not to hang up the phone, Jay. What's up with you, man? That was rude by you. That nice lady said, this is an important message. Don't hang up the phone. And you hung up the phone.
Where was that?
I don't know. Oh.
I don't know what I was saying.
You were saying this should not be a program. Let's restart on the other side. This should not be a program that should be accepting just winning 6 games and go to a bowl game. We'll start back there on the next.
2 5-yarders.
Exactly. We'll start there next.
All right.
And that lady on the phone.
Love telling you about our friends at Palmetto Propane. They've been a family-owned business since 1959. So successful in what they do, delivering propane first and foremost to homes and businesses all across the state. And now for a couple of decades, they've had their Palmetto Propane hearth and patio home store showrooms where you can get in there and see so many things that can make your life a whole lot more comfortable, more efficient, just plain better. All right, maybe it's time for a brand new gas fireplace inside, especially as we get to some cooler nights here. You know, it happens around here, believe it or not. If you're new to the area, it does get chilly here from time to time. I promise. But, you know, tired of the wood pile? Time to get a new indoor fireplace that looks fantastic. And you can see them inside the Hearth and Patio home store showrooms. Or fire features for out back, grills, water heaters, so much more. Listen, find one near you. Go to palmettopropane.com. Make your life a whole lot easier with the folks at Palmetto Propane.
All right, our first check on what's happening on the roads. We have a few accidents. Augusta Road, there is an accident there at Cardinal Drive. Also, we have another accident, Furnace Road at Highway 277 as well. And then we have one last one, I-26 westbound at St. Andrews Road, that is exit 106. And we have our typical long-term construction, I-126 Hugie at I-26, I-26 Bush River Road at Old Sandy Run Road, and I-26 between exit 64 and 65. We will come back, and Jay will finish his thought after he rudely hung up on the nice lady with the computer voice. We'll get to our thoughts on Carolina football. It's a reaction Monday after the loss to LSU. We'll get back to it here on the post-game show on the game.
All right, welcome back in. 24 minutes in front of 5 o'clock here on this Monday, reacting to Carolina's 20-10 defeat in Baton Rouge. And, again, the news around Lonnie Teasley's dismissal yesterday as offensive line coach, replaced immediately internally by Sean Elliott. And we'll have a lot more on that decision from Shane Beamer tomorrow afternoon, live, 1 o'clock here on the station. And we'll be reacting to it during our program as well. Jordan wants to weigh in on what's going on. He's up next. Hey, Jordan.
Hey, Jordan.
Hey, how's it going, fellas?
Doing well,
Another tough reaction Monday for the good guys. That one was that was a tough one to swallow. I'll be quick, guys. I just wanted to. I'm not sure if you guys touched on it yet, but just that fake punt and kind of how that transpired. With us getting that flag. I mean, it just seemed like after that play, all the air in the tires kind of deflated, and it just happened at such a pivotal moment. And just trying to wrap my head around, it just seemed like, once that ref is backing off, it seemed like everything was good to go. And like I said, I just think it was just such a pivotal call in the game, and another tough loss. So I'll get out you guys' way, but just wanted you guys to touch base on that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Jordan. Yeah, we did, but we're happy to do it again because it was probably over an hour ago that we did it. It's just, as Terry and I both said, and I think you just touched on it too, Jordan, you can't look at it and say, well, that cost him the game. It wasn't that. Just like Auburn fans can't say the end of first half sequence, cost anybody anything, but you made the point we did, Jordan. It was at a pivotal time, and in plays like that, especially on the road. Look, at home, that's a play that like geeks your fan base up, right? And sends the place to a whole nother level. On the road, they get quiet.
Oh yeah,
it's deflating.
Absolutely.
And we still don't know why there was a flag. Shane, on his teleconference last night, and he'll probably touch on it again, but on the teleconference last night said that he did call John McDade, the head of officials.
Yep. That
he did get an explanation, says he's not allowed to talk about it, and that it was what he thought it would be. And I want to be careful, but all I can really say or think is that what he thought it was going to be is, Coach, they screwed it up.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I think, and the reason I say that is because even if he couldn't talk about it, if it were the flip, at least he would say something, and this could be for any coach, he would at least say something, and again, I'm supposing, so I'm being careful here in live talk radio. Well, he explained to me what the, procedural issue was or the protocol, and while and now we can use it as a teaching moment, or we'll know exactly. There was none of that. It was what I thought it was going to be, and what he thought it was going to be is, Coach, we screwed it up.
Now again, we watch it over and over again, and you can't figure it out, and that's never good. Well,
looking at him on the sideline, they're trying to say something. You can just tell he's like, wait, like what?
Yeah, I mean, look, you got 5 minutes left in the third quarter. That's a momentum swing there. Again, I'm not saying that leads you to a victory, but you're sitting there.
But it changes things. And it is fair to say that it could have changed. Well, maybe you fumble the ball on the next play. Who the hell knows? But you can't. You
can't say it didn't matter because it did matter. Because you're at your own 40, and you run that fake, and you get a first down. Now you're right around midfield. And and now you have some momentum to move forward. The game is obviously still tight at 17-10. Who knows? Maybe you just get a field goal, but now 17-13, that changes strategy in a football game.
It's just, and like I say,
like I say, maybe you do nothing. We'll never know because you had some weird penalty that nobody can figure out.
I mean, it could have, you know, I don't know, but I always go back to something that my good friend and longtime colleague Michael Haney would say is you can't look at certain things in a vacuum like that. You've got to realize that changes something. To what degree? Well, I mean, I'm doing the shoulder shruggy guy. I don't know because it didn't happen. But to say, well, if everything else is equal, well, but that's not how life works. And because it changes the dynamic of what was happening.
Yeah, that's what they call the butterfly effect. I mean, you just don't know. But
we're not going to sit here and dwell on it and say, hey, you know, everything else with Carolina football is fine if only the refs had not done that. That's not. Trust us, we're not doing that.
No, you had 73 penalties. You missed a field goal. You fumbled your first snap that led to LSU's field goal. You spent, 5 or 6 drives in LSU territory. You only scored 10 points. You couldn't get inside the 25. You had to get an explosive play for a touchdown. Oh, there's plenty of things to talk about here, but that punt did matter in that moment. Yeah. It absolutely did.
It mattered.
I just think once you get over 10 penalties in the game, I just do not see how you would get out of a hole that Carolina was in with these penalties.
Well, most of them are procedural stuff, and again, they've got, and that's one reason that they've made a change today. And again, whatever that one was technically a procedural penalty. I guess.
Yeah, because it was an illegal snap, so to speak.
But again, like we've all said, and like Jordan the caller just said too, and you made the point in the first hour when that what's the guy called? He's not the back judge that stands next to the referee, whatever that position is called now.
The guy that gets it wrong, judge. That guy?
I forget what they call him now, but that guy. Mm-hmm. But again, when that dude backs away,
that's what I didn't understand. He was there doing what they do when they're giving the defense time to.
Is he the field judge?
Might be the field judge. But what you're doing is that's what it looked like to me. Is like you're giving LSU time to get organized. Okay, fine, we see it, but then you backed away.
Yeah.
Now, when you back away again, not the smartest guy in the world, but when you back away, it means it's time to play football because there's nobody in front of you over the ball. So that tells me all the officials have now slipped out of the way.
You got the play-by-play. Is that the official call? What was that? What was the official?
The official was illegal snap, I believe it was. Let me get back to it here. I
personally thought it was a timeout. That was what really ran through my mind. I was like, did they call a timeout to see what they were doing? Well, LSU.
No.
Okay, you get to 5:07. Let me get back to it here.
Well,
the penalty was an illegal snap, whatever that means.
Yeah. So, again,
go with that.
Is that why South Carolina lost the football game? No, it is not. But could it have been a difference-making moment in the game had that play stood? And you get that first down at midfield,
maybe
there's reasons to believe it could. It certainly wouldn't hurt you.
No, not at all.
So, but again, Shane didn't get an explanation, and that goes back to a point that we were talking about, with the Auburn game as well. It was not a great night in a few games for Southeastern Conference officiating. And this is something that Josh Pate made a point of on his show last night. And again, he went after the conference to say you deserve, your fans deserve more. And I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, I mean, think about all the money. We're talking about millions upon hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars we're talking about. And you can't be transparent with your officials, and we can all sit and watch all the replays of all the screw-ups and all the things, and you can't get out in front of it. Looks like you said, when you don't say anything, then the conspiracy theory tinfoil hat guy goes crazy.
It's exponentially worse when the only thing you basically say is, trust us, fans, we handled it.
But guess what? There's a portion of your fan base that doesn't trust you.
Yeah, they don't.
So
they don't. They in fact, they think that that's cover.
Yeah, absolutely they do.
All right, we'll come back on the other side, get into a little J or nay, and the streak is over. It's the postgame show.
Really?
We will do some Jay or Nay here in just a second. Welcome back in. Alongside Terry Ford, I am Jay Phillips. Jalen Tart at Master Control. Coming up top of the hour, headlines of the day. Got some Gamecock basketball news to get to, men's and women's. Some of it's good. Most of it's not.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah. We'll get into that for you, a AP poll, and get you ready for tonight's championship series. One of them's already started.
I know.
Did you hear about Seattle, man? They had like plane issues and travel issues. And
I know.
I don't know if they all lost their passports and couldn't get into Canada.
Yeah.
That part, actually, I'm just making that up. But they did have issues traveling.
Got tased at the border.
And still, yeah. And, they all admitted they didn't like hockey and maple syrup.
And Molson.
It
was ugly, man. Things got crazy. And by the way, how far is that trip from Seattle to Toronto?
I mean, I don't know, a couple thousand miles.
Yeah, that's a trip, man. Yeah. Didn't they all just jump in? Didn't they get Uber?
Well, I mean, they've been going to Detroit a lot too, right? So it's basically like going to Detroit.
Yeah, Toronto and Detroit are very close.
They're like 90 miles.
That's not far at all, man.
Yeah, so that's basically the same thing because Detroit's right there on the border.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Langston used to talk about, going to Windsor, Ontario.
I was going to say Windsor's the place, man. Yeah. One of the, I guess now really because everyone's found out, one of the now worst kept secrets is players love to go to Detroit. So they could go to Windsor,
they can go to Windsor
and gamble.
Yeah, because they got great casinos. Canada's like, we'll take all your money.
No, we had no problem. Hey, it's legal here, bet. Yeah. Bring it.
They like taxes too.
I got the answer.
Oh, okay.
2,457.
Yeah, I figure it's about 2,000.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, but it's like so they're used to that.
Everything. Look, I lived in Seattle for 2 years. Everything in Seattle's a truck.
Sure.
Everything.
Well, that makes sense.
Everything.
Congratulations to Tony. Tony, we should give Tony a bonus prize.
Mm-hmm.
Tony went 4-1 in the Wild Card Showdown. He beat everybody.
Tony crushed it.
Our other participant, Wooly, went 1-4. You, sir, went 1-4.
I should have went 2 and 3.
Elijah went 3 and 2. I went 2 and 3. But we have a tiebreaker set. Now, Tony didn't need the tiebreaker stat. But Tony, we were all like, oh, okay, Tony, you don't have much faith, huh? Well, the tiebreaker stat was rush yards for Ahmad Hardy.
I know.
Against Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Tony guessed 52.
He wasn't far off.
No. Ahmad Hardy rushed for 52.
Was it 52 exactly? I know it was in the 50s. Did he nail it?
Nailed
okay.
It. So,
nice.
Tony, you win a beer card. I think we need to get him like a T-shirt or something.
Do something for him. I mean, he nailed that thing.
Right on.
Yeah, but
we got a magic marker, a dry erase marker in here.
Sure, he'd love
it. Let's flip a dry erase
we'll try.
marker.
But Tony, congratulations. We will be in touch in the coming days.
Has anyone ever hit that number exactly?
Probably, but I can't recall
off the top of your head.
Yeah, and I don't know if I have the archive.
In our years doing it together, no one's ever hit it exactly.
It's just hard to hit it exactly.
Yeah.
Someone probably has at
phenomenal.
some point, But way to go, especially on that one.
Yeah,
because I was like 52. Man.
I thought it would be. I went around 100 or something.
You said 111. I said 105.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But Bama defense held him in check. All right, let's do it.
Hit the music there, Jalen. Hook us up.
Hang on, it's coming.
It's coming. Be there in a second. Today, by the way.
Yeah.
Turn her up. There you go, buddy. Turn it up. Hit the button. That's good. All right. Today's very simple.
Okay.
These candidates to be the new Penn State head coach. I'm just saying, if you're not
Penn State fired their coach?
Yeah, how about that guy?
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was early today.
They kept that really down low. Just Jay or nay if you'd interview this guy seriously for the job. Not saying you'd hire this one, but would you seriously interview this guy for the job?
So under consideration.
Yes, because you're going to interview more than one person.
Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe for this gig. Obviously, the no-brainer off the top is Matt Rule, head coach at Nebraska who played at Penn State and is boys with the AD.
Yeah, that's a J.
This Kurt Signetti, head coach at Indiana.
That's a J.
Iowa State coach Matt Campbell.
J.
Duke coach Manny Diaz, defensive coordinator a few years back at Penn State.
Nay.
UNLV coach Dan Mullen, who's undefeated.
I saw his name in The Athletic, I think.
Uh-huh.
Nay. No.
John Summerall,
and I like Dan Mullen, but no, not Dan Mullen.
John Summerall, Tulane.
Nay.
Brent Key at Georgia Tech.
Nay.
Mike Elko, Texas A&M.
J.
Fran Brown, Syracuse.
J.
Alex Golish, South Florida.
Nay.
Jay Phillips.
Nay.
Columbia, South Carolina.
Nay.
I'll tell you something.
He's a baseball guy.
You know what's interesting about this gig, and I know it's been a while, but the way the salaries have changed.
Yep.
Like, you talk about Signetti.
Yep.
Signetti only makes $200,000 less than Franklin was making at Penn State, at Indiana. I mean, some of these guys, with the money, Rule is making pretty much as much at Nebraska as, Franklin made. To get the coach that Penn State wants, you got to go 9.5 to 10, right?
In order, I told you I had a 1A, 1B.
Mm-hmm.
1A to me is Signetti. He's from Pittsburgh, by the way.
Yep.
Played at West Virginia, but he's from Pittsburgh.
And he was in Indiana, PA for a while.
1B is Rule, Elko, and Brown. I would if you go out off of that list, I think you've made a mistake.
I love Signetti.
And you can get any of those 4 guys. I promise you, all of them will say yes to your job.
We should talk about your candidates in the next hour at some point.
Coming up.
We're also coming up.
Cato's Power Equipment ready to help you out with all of your fall yard work needs. Listen, it's not as much these days about keeping the grass cut short. Although, listen, it still grows, all right? I mean, around here, it absolutely does. But you can use that lawnmower to basically be your rake or your blower all at the same time, right? At least in a little bit of ways, right? You put that bag on the back, and you get yourself a mulch kit right while you're at it, too. But Cato's also wants to make sure that you are taking good care of your mower. So now, through Halloween, they are offering you big discounts on making sure that your lawnmower is good to go. 25% off all shop labor on service and repair work on your Toro mower, your Ariens, your Gravely Zero Turns. If you've got a big rider and can't really get it to them for an extra $100, they'll come pick it up, do all the service, and get it back to you. Check them out. 4012 West Beltline Boulevard. Call to schedule a service, 254-3711, or go to catospowerequipment.com.
All right, we got a few accidents we have to check on. Let's see here. Wow, man. Paper's interesting. All right, Fontana Road at Highway 277. Also, I-26 westbound at St. Andrews at exit 106 as well. Augusta Road at Cardinal Drive. Fish Hatchery Road as well at Charleston Highway. So, yeah, kind of navigate yourself around all those areas. It might be some backups there. And obviously the long-term construction going on I-126, I-20, and I-26. Again, it could be a long day on the roads. So please navigate slowly and safely. 5 o'clock news coming back from our Buds Integrated Media tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Shane Beamer presser, as we'll hear from the ball coach. All that coming up here on The Game.
It is 5 o'clock news time on this Monday. Welcome back in. It's also the final hour of the postgame show alongside Terry Ford. I'm Jay Phillips. Jalen Tart is at Master Control for us. Busy all day reacting to South Carolina's 20-10 loss at LSU. 3-3 on the season are the Gamecocks. 1-3 in conference play. As we've talked about a lot today, there were, like so many games, and for any team that's 3-3, you've got your highs and your lows, and that certainly was the case for South Carolina. The bad 13 penalties, many of them procedural, one of them rather questionable, but Shane addressed that too. You ran until the last sack. You had over 200 yards. You still ran for a net of 193 yards on the night, which is terrific for South Carolina and better than 4 yards per carry, 4.3 officially. So that was good. You won the turnover battle again. That was good, including getting 2 crucial ones down low, which I really think, for as much as some might say, well, if LSU doesn't turn the ball over down low, this is a blowout game. I don't disagree with that, but I thought that the plays that South Carolina made defensively to get those the turnovers were both really good plays. But again, 5 sacks allowed. Lenoris could never really get into any kind of rhythm at all. And here you are once again with, just the inconsistency and another disappointing loss where you did a lot of things pretty well, but certainly not nearly enough. Cut number 8, Jalen. Here's Shane Beamer post-game on the penalties.
But no excuse. I mean, we knew it was going to be loud. It was. We practiced with crowd noise all week. We knew that their defense was going to be making move calls and stimming, which they did. We practiced that all week. I wish I had a better answer for you. It's mind-boggling to me in so many ways, and something that I thought we got past it, but clearly, I think in this game last year we had 14 penalties, and here we are tonight with 13. So tough to win that way.
And that comes off of 14 penalty performance at Missouri in a game where late in the fourth quarter you were still very much in it. And, again, when you're doing those things to yourself, first and foremost, it doesn't really even matter what the other team is doing to you. And then in between, as we talked about, Terry, only 5 penalties committed at home in the win over Kentucky, and you thought you had fixed a lot of that. But you could hear it in Shane's voice. They had not. Again, a mixed bag performance from Lenoris Sellers. Tried to get a few things going through the air, never really could. Here's Shane, cut number 17, Jalen. Here's Shane on his quarterback.
Thought he battled his rear end off. He was he had some injuries. He was under pressure. Got to be better on some of those that intentional grounding. I mean, if we're going to throw it away, we got to get out of the pocket. But he gave us, an opportunity to win. He'll be the first to tell you when he comes in here, he missed some throws, and I'm sure he'd like to have some plays back. But kid's tough as hell, and made a lot of plays for us.
And Jalen, before I say anything else, cut number 24, please. Lenoris himself, a very quick answer on his overall night.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a mixture of everything. Like, offensively, you got to have all 11 guys on the same page. So it's kind of like they may bring a pressure we didn't see. Kudos to them. They dial some stuff up. But we just got to be better. We got to see it, execute, and communicate better.
We've heard that a lot, execute and communicate. We heard it at the beginning of the season. We're now hearing it in the middle of the season. Once again, by now, most of you know, but if you haven't heard, and we'll have more on this in the Gamecock Notebook, including Shane's about 2-minute explanation. Lonnie Teasley has been fired as South Carolina's offensive line coach effective immediately. Sean Elliott will take over. Sean, of course, had a tremendous run as offensive line coach under Steve Spurrier and has been run game coordinator, but has not really been able to fully implement a lot of what he does from an offensive line perspective, whether that's coaching, teaching, and I blend those two. They're not always completely synonymous, but whatever's not happening, Terry, we've talked about this a bunch. You had to do something. You had to do something to try and affect positive change for the second half of the season. This 3-3 does not feel like last season's 3-3. They both 3-3s had interesting moments of injury or poor execution, some dumb luck here and there kind of things, all of it kind of thrown into the old Deuce Staley pot of gumbo, but it also felt like, for whatever reason, last year's final stretch of games felt more manageable than this one does. Doesn't mean this one isn't, or that you can't still accomplish something. I feel like for where this team is right now, a 6-game win streak does not feel in the offing. I mean, we could all be wrong.
Yeah, hopefully.
All be wrong.
Hopefully we're wrong.
But with games with games still against a much improved Alabama team, against a very dangerous Mississippi team in their place, and in front of 100,000. I mean, you play again. You play like you did on the road against Missouri and LSU, and you go to Oxford and College Station.
I mean, you're going to have the same result. You're going to have moments where you're okay, and then moments of inconsistency that hurt you, and you end up losing the game.
But you can't beat yourself.
No. Two things I think I look at from last year, this year, why it's so different. A, you had no expectation last year. You were picked near the bottom of the SEC. This year, you're preseason top 15. Guess what? You're 3-3 again. That's one reason why I think it feels different, because so much more is expected. Even if you were sitting at 4-2, you go, okay, you're really one game behind it. But 3-3, when we talk about going into the stretch, you had to be 4-1 going to Baton Rouge.
Yep.
Now you're 3-3. Second thing is you had some real grown men and adults on last year's team. Right? You had the Kyle Kennards, the Demetrius Knights, the Rocket Sanders, and you really. Look, you've got guys with talent, and you've got guys who are making plays, obviously, but you don't have those type of guys on this team. You just don't right now, and that's a reality.
Tonka Hemingway, Boogie Huntley, Josh Simon,
I mean, think
Nick
about all of those vets. And you mean, again, Demetrius Knight's got a minivan, for the love of God. Yeah. You know, Kyle Kennard was a grown man. And Rocket Sanders, feel like he's been in college 10 years, right? But you had those pieces you don't have now, which makes this feel like, okay, that run is more difficult to put through your head when you look at it that way compared to last year.
More on the Gamecocks coming up, as we said, as part of the Gamecock Notebook, including a longer explanation from Shane Beamer on what went into the dismissal of Lonnie Teasley. So that's coming up for you in just a little bit. In the meantime, the Penn State job is open, if you have not yet heard, and I'm sure you probably have by now. James Franklin fired at Penn State yesterday after another shocking defeat, this time at home to Northwestern. Final score 22-21. Star quarterback Drew Aller injured in the fourth quarter of this game and sadly is done for the season. Yeah. But it wasn't, according to their AD, even though this was not one of those games, according to their athletics director, this was a lot more about James Franklin's inability to win the big games. And he really was not good in big game situations. In fact, I mean, get to it again, he was. This is the first time in college football, by the way, that a team has lost consecutive games when favored by 20 or more points. First time that's happened since the AA, 1A and
split,
AA.
Right.
Penn State, let's see, under James Franklin, 4-21 against AP top 10s, 1-18 against Big Ten top 10 teams, a 160 winning percentage against top 10 teams, third worst by a coach with a minimum of 25 games since the poll era began. Penn State's last win over a conference team ranked in the top 10 was when they beat Ohio State in 2016. So
that was the Trace McSorley era.
This is not, as their AD said, just a losing to Northwestern thing. They clearly believe that there's just something that's missing. I come back to it, and I said this to you the other day. You start with 3, glorified exhibitions. I don't when I'm being serious here, I won't call them some of the things that I do call them, but they are in a sense glorified exhibitions. And Penn State didn't have to show much, didn't have to run much, had no real sweat in any of those games, nor should they have. But were you prepared then, mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever, for Oregon and Dan Lanning? Didn't look like it. And then when that one punched you in the gut, and remember, you led in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
But then you went out to the coast. UCLA is bad.
But real bad.
And you played like crap. And then you come back home feeling sorry for yourself, and Northwestern beat you. Because you're sulking. It's all. I feel like the way they started their season really had an impact on where they are now. But that's wretched. A 160 win percentage.
Terrible.
At a school like that for a good football coach. And look, he'll get a job.
Sure. I mean, he's a good football coach.
And in fact, I've heard a lot of people saying, hey, here's a guy who would be perfect for either. And this is just some that we know. Well, one we know is open, Arkansas. And the likelihood of North Carolina being open is high.
Yeah.
And that he would be good for either of those. I agree with that.
If James Franklin won the way he won at Penn State, at Arkansas, or at North Carolina, they'd be doing backflips.
Or heck, even the last couple of years at Vandy. I mean, if you're getting Arkansas and North Carolina at 8-9 with a shot every so often at a 10th,
sure,
you're golden, man. But at Penn State, it's different. And the irony there too, as you well know, it's been nearly 40 years since Penn State
1986
since they won their last national title.
That's where I think a couple things. One, look, we joke about Big Game James for a reason. He can't win them. There's no doubt about that. He's getting paid to win games. He's getting $8.5 million a year to be better than that.
These are the games. Listen, at 1-18 in conference top 10 games, you've got to at least be 50-50, dude.
And here's the thing. I think that what all brings us together. And look, do I think that when you go to the Final Four of college football, you should at least get through your next season before you get canned? I think that. I mean, yeah, but here's the thing. You start the year preseason top 3. You come off of going to the Final Four. You didn't beat anybody to get there, but you got to the Final Four, and you were in that game, by the way.
Yeah.
So you come out, you're preseason top 3. Everybody's coming back, right? You've had it in the portal. You're loaded everywhere. And you lose the Oregon game. Okay, it's a whiteout. You lose a game. Oregon's really good. But then you lose to UCLA, which is an embarrassment. Then to double your embarrassment, you lose at home to Northwestern. And in our world we live in today, when you're Penn State and you believe it should be 1986 all over again. Now, whether they can be that or not is a conversation for later.
Right. It may be an unfair expectation.
Exactly.
But they pour a lot of money into that program.
So the point is, all of it came together and you make the move, right? Because, look, let's be real. If you beat Oregon and then lose to UCLA and Northwestern, you still have your job.
Yeah.
But the Oregon game, and to the point of what you said about getting prepared, you jumped right from playing junior high teams to Oregon. Indiana, they played a bunch of elementary schools, but then they played Illinois, which was kind of a phony top 10 team. And then you got Iowa on the road, which is offensively challenged, even though they're a good defensive team. Then you got to Oregon. So you got a little ramp up there between your junior high teams and Oregon. Penn State went right from their junior high teams to Oregon.
Even in their building. But I don't like either one of them, by the way. And by the way, as a quick aside, Indiana, Kurt Cignetti, well done.
Absolutely.
Did not see that one coming.
I didn't either. I'll be fair.
That has, I'm changing my
You know the thing about that win, too, real quick? When you watch that game, Indiana belonged on the field with Oregon.
Absolutely.
Every now and then a team wins a game and they upset somebody and you go, okay, that was kind of kooky or a fluke, or if they played 10 times, they'd lose 8 more. No. Indiana belonged on that field with Oregon when you watched that football game.
I'll say again here, Penn State, you need to hire Kurt Cignetti.
You know what's? We'll have to talk about that at some point. I think it's a very interesting conversation because I'll be honest with you. If I'm an AD and I have an opening, my first phone call is Kurt Cignetti's agent. Yeah. But is it as easy to think he would leave Indiana?
Yes.
As we think it is?
Yes.
I don't know.
I do.
I don't know.
I think I gave you 4 names. They will all.
I will say this about Kurt
yes.
Signetti.
They will all crawl over glass. Broken, old, crappy, non-safety glass.
I don't know if it's that easy to think about Penn State that way anymore. And I think some people might look at it a little bit different than we. See, we go back to 1986.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, you know what? He's older than you and me, so he does too. And he's from Pennsylvania. That's our integrated media headlines of the day. More from Shane on the dismissal of Lonnie Teasley, part of the Gamecock Notebook. Welcome back in. 20 minutes after 5 o'clock here on this Monday. Jay, Terry, Jalen hanging out. Drive around the SEC coming up. Again, congrats earlier to Tony. Went 4-1 in the wild card showdown.
But what's more impressive about Tony?
And Tony, he didn't need it because he beat everybody, but he also nailed the tiebreaker stat of 52 yards for
Quite
Ahmad
impressed.
Hardy. So
Wow.
some kind of bonus that he's deserving of. We'll figure that out, Tony. But congratulations. We'll be in touch in the coming days. In the meantime, let's get back on the phones. 803-404-6100 AAA phone lines. John is up next. Good afternoon, sir.
Well, I didn't care for the game too much, but I will say this. That is a fantastic trip, especially if you spend the night before the game in New Orleans. But, getting back to the game, it's so frustrating because it just seemed like every time Carolina got inside LSU's 40, the offense, well, have y'all seen Tropic Thunder?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You know that line that Robert Downey Jr. gives that says you don't go full, you know what?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's kind of what like Carolina was doing when we crossed the 40-yard line the other night. Just that first drive, well, the first two drives, I guess, were extraordinarily frustrating because, the first drive, the first play was a fumbled snap, and that led to an LSU field goal. And then the second drive, you feel like you're just settling for a field goal that you end up missing, by the way. And it just, I don't know, that play on 3rd and 8 on the opening or on the first full drive that Carolina had, Shula calls a quarterback draw right up the middle. When you're calling that with that offensive line on 3rd and 8, that tells me that you're giving up on trying to score a touchdown and trying to settle for a field goal, which, special teams the last 2 years has been such an adventure. You cannot do that. You have got to go for the first down, and you have got to go for the end zone. And now, when Carolina was backed up on the 1 later in the ball game, you call 2 plays to just get off the goal line, and a 3rd and 8, he calls a rollout, and that's a beautiful play that's executed perfectly. So it's plays like that and situations like that that just make you want to slam your head against the wall. Now, as far as the decision yesterday, I hate it when someone gets fired because, you talk about, it's a personal thing. I've been fired before. I hate going through that. You eventually know you're going to land on your feet, but that uncertainty that someone goes through, you hate thinking about that. But at the same time, the proof is in the pudding. 14 penalties at Missouri, 13 the other night. I don't know how many of those are all against the offensive line, but
about half.
You think
about half.
Yeah, you think about the end of the first half. We were watching that, and just the amount of punishment that Lenoris was taking and the amount of times he had to scramble out, we were looking at each other. My buddy and I were looking at each other and just saying, man, he is going to get killed tonight. And that's not the first time we've said that about Lenoris Sellers based on the protection he's been getting or lack thereof. Kudos that they were able to open up running lanes, which, kind of tells you they've got the talent to do it. Now, I don't know. Hopefully it's just coaching. I fully trust Sean because, Sean's had 1,000 or 2,000-yard rushers before. I don't know if you put Sewell or Fuller on that level yet, as far as the talent caliber that they bring compared with Marcus and Mike. But, the evidence is there that Sean can get it done, and I like that move. If that's the move they want to go with full-time, I'm on board with it. If they want to go outside the box later on, I've certainly got some candidates that I'd be open with, but Sean certainly is a candidate, and I would say the leading candidate right now.
Yeah, I think he's going to be, and in terms of what they do moving forward, John, I'm glad you had a good trip over there too. I can't wait to get more debriefing from Elijah as well, although he probably didn't have a good time yesterday.
Probably not.
Well, he probably did. You guys still got to go to a Saints game.
Yeah,
but anyway,
got to go to the quarter.
Yeah,
go to French Quarter after this. To
I don't know,
drown your sorrows.
Did they?
Oh, you have to. Come on, it's Elijah we're talking about here.
That's true. No, listen, John. You're right, and we've talked about this throughout the day. It's an unfortunate, necessary move. That's the way that we can label it. No one wants to fire anybody, but there's just too much evidence that has continued to mount to say that the change is warranted. What happens moving forward? Again, we'll see, won't we? That's the only thing you can do now is start the process. And yes, Sean Elliott has a proven track record of success at this school in this conference. No, John, he does not have a Marcus Lattimore or a Mike Davis when it comes to any of those backs. But they have in their last 2 games most assuredly made progress in the run game. So there were, as we've talked about, Terry, this is yet another. I think this one is more about, listen, we still are having issues with pass pro, and we're still committing too many 5-yarders that, like I said, death by 1,000 paper cut penalties.
Yeah.
Any one of them in and of itself, not so much. But especially on the road at Missouri, on the road at LSU, 10-ish procedural penalties on the offensive line. Maybe more. I'll have to go back and look. I mean, I think it was 7 at Missouri alone, so probably more like 12 or 13 or 14. It's just you can't keep doing it.
No.
It's the whole definition of insanity thing, right? Can't keep trying the same things and hope for a different result. So something's got to change in terms of what it is that needs to get through to these young men to not continue to do this. You're going to have them occasionally, but you can't have that many.
I mean, look.
And like you said, I think the point you made was great. It's where you have them that they become stalls. If you were doing this, and you don't want to do it anywhere, but if you were doing it on 1st and goal from the 7, you can kind of navigate through that. But when you turn 2nd and 7 at the 40 to 2nd and 12 at the 45, right after you've crossed midfield, or as an example, and then it's just like you're in that weird purgatory of, can we get to field goal range? Do we go for it? Do I try a coffin corner punt? Like, it's just, instead of being able to open certain things up, and so it had to happen.
And when your team isn't efficient to begin with, I mean, the only score you got was on an explosive play, a 72-yard run.
Correct.
So you're not an efficient offense to begin with. So 5 yards is a big deal. Yeah. Second and 4 to 2nd and 9 is huge. Or 3rd and 4 to 3rd and 9 is gigantic for this football team right now because they're not efficient. And they get behind the sticks. They average 3rd and 10 in this football game. A good offense is having a tough time doing 3rd and 10.
I remember you and me and Elijah talking about they were averaging 3rd and 9 against Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
So
it's been a thing all year.
Yeah, it's just.
And part of the thing all year has been these penalties. They've killed you. And obviously, you had 2 intentional groundings because your quarterback's running for his life and you chucked the thing in the parking lot. Now, do you want him chucking in the parking lot? Of course not. But when you've been pressured on 65% of your dropbacks and you're trying to avoid another 10-yard loss, you're reacting, right?
Yeah.
And just these things. Then this offensive line, we've gone over this. There's talent here. You got a 5-star. You got some 4-stars. You got guys. You look at Ball. Ball might have been a 3-star, but you look at that guy. That's a physically gifted, large human being. So there's talent here. Why none of this is connecting or communicating? Maybe a new voice can get at least it back in the right direction.
Right. We'll have a drive around the SEC on the other side. I do want you to hear what Shane said about Lonnie, so we'll open the drive around with Shane's teleconference explanation of how that came to be after the LSU game. That's all coming up as the postgame show rolls on.
check on the traffic. Still a couple accidents. 26 westbound at St. Andrews Road, exit 106. And also Fontana Road at exit 277 as well. And our construction, I-126, Hugh G and I-26. Also I-26 between Bush River Road and Old Sandy Run Road, and I-20 and 26. Exit 64 and 65 at Broad River Road, like always. We'll get back in here, drive around the SEC. Also coming up, Jay versus the Internet. And tomorrow, Shane Beamer talking to the media at 1 p.m. Give us his thoughts coming up the LSU loss, going to the Oklahoma game. All that coming up here on The Game.
It is Drive Around the SEC time. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Jalen at Master Control. Get back into the phones in just a second, too. 803-404-6100. Before we get into a quick recap of other SEC action, as I promised you, I want you to hear what Shane had to say about Lonnie Teasley being dismissed yesterday. So here is about a minute and a half from Shane's Sunday afternoon teleconference on how all that went down.
First of all, Lonnie is a fantastic coach, fantastic person, has an unbelievable family, and these decisions aren't easy, and I hurt for him and his family. I watched the tape of the game on my iPad on the plane. And after getting done watching it, and it wasn't just from last night, it was, thinking about kind of where we are and overall body of work on the offensive line, and really us as an offense right now. And looking at the overall body of work, I felt like the best decision for our team was to make a change with the offensive line. I got back to my house last night at, I think, 4 in the morning is when I walked in my house. Knew Jeremiah Donati was awake because he was on the plane with us. So I called Jeremiah at 4:18 a.m. and I talked to him for a little bit about where my head was and what I was thinking, and make sure he was okay with it. He was. Went to bed, slept for about an hour, and then I've been back here in the office since then, and met with Lonnie this morning and informed him of my decision.
So there you go. He'll have more tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Terry just mentioned that to you, that's Shane's next press availability. Difficult decision, understandable decision, and now you hope that a decision like this leads to better results. We have seen that. That's one of the things. We had a caller earlier. We were talking about, he asked us, show me why, in so many words he asked, show me why, tell me why something like this should be a positive or can give us some hope. And I was like, well, I think, again, my opinion, and I know you agree, Shane has made moves similar. He's never fired anyone midseason, but, going back to the early years of his tenure, he took a lot. I don't want to say he didn't take responsibility from Marcus Satterfield, but he forced Marcus Satterfield to basically just get rid of half the playbook. Like, hey, Marcus, you're calling too many plays. There's too much going on. Our guys can't really learn them. And again, a lot of it also was seemingly without regard for the personnel on the field. Just call a play.
Well, I totally forgot that guy was there.
Yeah, and Shane cleaned that up, and you saw a difference. He's done it with Clayton. And now he's doing it again. So there's a reason there's a track record there of at least getting better results after something like this is necessary. And you don't want them to be necessary. So, and again, if you don't feel that way, that's fine. I think that this head coach has shown us he's willing to do it, and that it has made a difference. And in this particular case, not only have you had to make the move, but at least the person that you are now turning to is someone that this entire fan base should have a lot of faith and trust in as well, because he's done it, and he's done it here.
And it's a guy that's been there, done that. And in the middle of the season, think about this for a minute. How many times can you turn on your coaching staff and find this guy?
Right.
And that's another part. And you brought this up earlier on the show. How much of this was, well, you got Sean Elliott here. And it could, look.
It makes it easier to do this.
Yes.
When it's not easy at all, it makes it easier.
Because what if you don't have this guy and you just have maybe a random assistant who has never been the offensive line coach? Then do you stay with Lonnie longer because you really aren't confident in someone who would step in? I don't know. We don't know the answer. But when you got Sean Elliott sitting on your staff, right, and you can go, okay, we got that dude. This ain't working. Let's see if the former offensive line coach Steve Spurrier can get this thing going for us, because obviously we're hitting a wall here.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, we've had, as long as you and I have been hanging out together for these last 26 years doing shows, we have had conversations about the South Carolina offensive line.
Yes.
In some way, shape, or form. It just ain't working. Try the voice of a guy that's done it before successfully and see if he can get you on the right track.
So, again, we'll see. Carolina, Oklahoma, if you didn't hear, is officially 12:45. Again, most of you probably knew it was going to be in the noon hour, whether it was noon directly or 12:45. It is 12:45. And Carolina, Alabama has been announced next Saturday as a 3:30 ABC national game of the week. So that will be going on at Williams.
Let's hope Kalen DeBoer has another one of those problems of being favored and going on the road and going.
Well, I suppose there's a lot
man.
There's a lot of Carolina fans that are going like, I hope Tennessee wins by 1,000 and everybody gets hurt. And believe me, it ain't easy for Carolina fans to ever pull for Tennessee.
Dude. They are playing really well.
Bama's starting to look real good. Speaking of which, they go to Missouri, really shut down Ahmad Hardy, as we said. Alabama wins that one 27-24, and it was about that close. I want to give Missouri full credit. It was a solid game, but Alabama made bigger plays when they needed to, and Mizzou has really kept things going with their run game. And for Alabama to play as well defensively on the road as they did in what was one of the bigger games, certainly of the Drinkwitz era,
right?
Speaks volumes about what Bama's doing right now.
I'll say this. I mean, Bama was impressive going to Columbia, Missouri and pulling that W. But I'll tell you what, man, I know it's not popular to say, I'm impressed with Missouri.
They're good.
I mean,
no, they're good. They're good.
Eli went for it on a fourth. They tried a fake punt.
Yep.
And it didn't work, and that's when Alabama got the touchdown to stretch the lead. Then Missouri went back down and scored, then had a chance again. What Eli, and I know this isn't popular saying, look, I make fun of Eli Drinkwitz more than anybody. But I can be objective. This guy has done a hell of a job at Missouri.
Absolutely.
They belonged on that field with Alabama.
My question for him now becomes not, how good a coach is he, but for instance, should his name be mentioned more prominently for Penn State? Maybe. I wonder. I don't know what he wants. He's not going to stay at Missouri. I wonder what he wants, and if his agent is starting to work the phones, or if that's the wrong kind of job for him. Like, I guess my point is Penn State enough of that underachiever that he likes to kind of be
to go in
the underdog?
Sweet spot, right.
Like I don't know. And because we haven't seen it. I mean, if Eli went tomorrow, not that this is happening, but if he went to Georgia tomorrow or Ohio State tomorrow, is he the same guy? Like, he probably is, but is that play? Maybe there's a little bit of that.
I like what you're thinking, because I've really become a firm believer in certain guys are good fits for certain places and bad fits for other places. Like Eli, I think his demeanor and personality would be perfect to Florida. You tell everybody to bleep off and he'd take over and he would be himself, and he's got the ego to deal with that mess. Penn State, I don't know if Eli's the right fit at State College.
Yeah.
And I want to throw this out real quick, and we don't have much time, and you and I will investigate this. And this is just me thinking out loud about things, because the world is changing so much around us in college athletics. For an example, Eli Drinkwitz is making $9 million at Missouri. He's one of the 12 highest paid coaches in America. Missouri's pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into facilities. I'm like you. My first thought is he's going to get the hell out of there the first time one of the big boys come looking for him. But then you stop and go, wait a minute.
Maybe he won't.
Is he? Like Signetti.
Right.
My first thought is Signetti will piece out of that basketball school the first chance he'll get. If Indiana came to Cignetti and said, we're going to pour hundreds of millions of dollars here, and guess what? You know who the winningest coach in the history of Indiana football is?
Oh, I was going to say Bill Mallory.
Yes!
But, yeah.
He's got a losing record.
Yeah, sure.
So the point I'm making is, if you're Kurt Cignetti and then they love you, man.
Yeah.
Do you want to stay at a place that you can build you and you can be the Joe Paterno of Indiana, or do you go to Penn State where you're just trying to get back to the legacy of Joe Paterno? I'm not saying you're wrong on Penn State, because Cignetti is a guy that's been in Western PA and knows what's up. I'm just saying maybe we, for all these jobs now, need to stop and think a minute.
Maybe.
Are these as no-brainers as you and I have always thought? Because I'm like you. I was thinking that way. And then I stopped today for a few minutes and said, maybe we have to look at the possibilities of the world's changing around us, and do we start changing our thinking about some of these things?
If Cignetti is choice 1A and he says no, then Matt Rule, I assure you,
Matt Rule's going.
He will.
Yeah,
take
Matt
the
Rule
job.
will.
Yeah.
Did you hear him? Not.
Yeah. And he shouldn't. He played there. He shouldn't. He shouldn't.
And
he did
him
the right
and the
thing.
AD are buds.
Yeah, he did the way he answered his question
Honestly,
today was the right way to do it.
I'm with you. I take Cignetti over Rule, but I think Rule will end up there.
And again, I call him 1A, 1B, man.
Yeah, I think Rule. I think if they offer it to Rule will jump in the car and he'll be there.
Georgia gets their win. A&M doubled up Florida, who looked bad in the second half, brother. Bad football. Texas gets the big win, and Tennessee barely hung on.
I know.
That's almost like a win for Bobby Petrino, which, again, makes me want to take some kind of mental Pepto.
I know. I thought
because they'll be like, see? He can do it. That's the drive around the SEC. We'll be back.
Men's Clinic of South Carolina, again, we talk about this a lot because it's important. Guys, as you're getting older and just the world has changed and all of a sudden you can't remember anything and you're not sleeping for crap and you have a lack of life drive, sex drive, personal drive, professional drive, whatever the case is. You don't feel good at the gym anymore. Your verticals become a horizontal, like some people I know sitting here talking to you. Whatever it is, you don't rebound from working out anymore. You just feel sore. It could just be low testosterone. It could be that easy. You might be freaking out over nothing. 803-875-MENS. Make the call. Set your free confidential consultation at the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Tell them your story. If they think it could be low T, Dr. Dan and the staff will then do some lab work. If it comes back low testosterone, they will put you on a program specifically designed for you. 803-875-MENS. It might just be low T. Find out. Call the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
Welcome back in. Final few minutes of the post-game show here on a Monday afternoon. Once again tomorrow, Shane Beamer at 1 o'clock. So that'll be when Tyler and Bill are on with you. And Ryan will be with us tomorrow. Ryan Brewer. It's a Brews Day edition tomorrow. So we'll have all the reaction to what Shane had to say. By the way, Teamworks is a kind of like PFF, stats and data for sports. I got this from Cole Kubelik. Lenora Sellers finished with 19 yards rushing on 22 attempts. Now, obviously, that includes
That's the sacks.
No, wait, hold on. That's not the fun part. Total distance traveled during the game. You ready for this?
Yes, go ahead.
894 yards.
Oh, yeah. He was running for his life.
He traveled
almost 9 football fields. Run that through your head real quick.
I mean, let me do
Almost
the quick math,
yards.
and that's a little over half a mile.
That's ridiculous. And if you throw the sacks out, he rushed for 74.
Yeah.
But the sack yards take him down
Again,
to...
I seriously, and I know we can be flippant and smart asses about that. It really, 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 really is time for college football to adapt the NFL model of measuring that particular statistic.
It's just
There's just no reason to do it the way they do it.
No, there isn't.
And in fact, I almost feel like they just can, whoever they are, continue to do it like only to be contrarian.
Yeah, because it makes no sense.
It
makes
like,
zero sense.
Like, you know, and it's just, we don't need to do that. I mean, all the dumb stuff that happens, people vote on.
You can't fix that.
Just do what the NFL has done.
100%. It just drives. It just
if
makes
you
me
know
shake
it's
my
a
head.
sack, then it's a sack.
Yeah.
And just take it accordingly. But
by the way, to Cole's point of running almost 9 full football fields in a game, Linares broke 12 tackles on Saturday, 10 running for his life. Yeah. So guess what? There might even be more sacks, Jay.
Right.
To your point. Ready for a little music?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, hit it there, Jalen. 2 Monday Night Football games tonight, my man.
Tired of those, man. Just give me one.
Here you go.
I don't need 2. I really don't need 2 NFL games on the same night. I mean, that's what Sundays are for.
Bills, Falcons in Atlanta, Buffalo -3.5.
Bills are definitely better.
Oh, absolutely.
But the Falcons aren't terrible.
Yeah, they've been 500
Good
so far.
point.
And they're at home. And this feels like that kind of game where they goober up and do something. But the Bills are coming off a loss, am I correct?
And the Falcons got the number 1 running back in the, Bijan Robinson.
Bijan's ready to have a nice game. You know what? What the heck? I'll do it for Tyler. Give me the Falcons.
And Preston, because Preston adopted the Falcons.
Yeah, that's true. He's not a lifer, though.
Yeah.
Tyler needs this. So.
Tyler needs this. All right, so you're going Atlanta?
Give me Atlanta plus the points.
Plus the 3.5?
Yeah, plus the.
Okay, Bears, Commanders in D.C.
What is the Bears?
Commanders -5.5.
What is the Bears?
This year?
Cal?
2-2.
No, Cal. Is that the Cal Bears?
Yeah. Who would win, Chicago Bears or Cal Bears?
Chicago Bears. Is this a football team?
Not for a while they've been. No, they have not been a football team for a while.
They're on a 2-game win streak right now.
Man, if you could relegate them.
Washington.
You're getting Washington giving the 5.5 to the Bears.
That game's in Washington, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Washington wins by 10.
Bills Falcons over/under is 49.5.
Can't you give me a baseball prop?
Would you rather have a baseball prop?
No, it's fine. It's fine. 49.5.
I'll give you a break here. I'll give you the choice. Do you want Bears Commanders over/under, which is also 49.5?
Yeah, I want that one, and I'll go under.
You're going to go under the 49.5 for Bears Commanders?
Yeah, I don't know about the Atlanta.
There you go. All right, so there's your...
I could see Atlanta 27-24.
Yeah, see, I could see the Bears and Commanders going over the number. Would not surprise me.
I'm taking
Last year was the Hail Mary game, so it could be...
It ruined the Bears' season, by the way. Well, the Bears ruined the Bears' season, but anyway.
I don't know if that's really what did it.
Yeah, we just got to see
At
the
least
dirty
they're not the
underbelly
Jets.
of the Bears. Oh my gosh, no.
And again, my Broncos did win that game, but that's some of the ugliest.
That should almost been
You know
half
what?
the
I
win.
felt really like you're trying to grow the sport over there.
Not the one.
The game took forever. They had like 4 stoppages, and I'm like, this is why these people don't like American football.
Yeah.
You made them watch that.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, again, not to be mean. I know the schedules don't weigh in advance, but think about you're trying to put a fun product on the
Jets
field.
over there.
No,
you can't send the Jets.
Send the Jets.
But Woody Johnson was like the UK ambassador.
So you got it. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you're to see my team. No, they really shouldn't,
Woody Johnson.
And one final note from our great friends at AAA Heating and Air. The nights are beginning to cool, kids, just a little bit, right? We got like a whole week's worth of nights in the 50s, maybe for some of you, even high 40s. And that might mean it's time to turn the heat on overnight or during the day or whenever you feel like you need to stay a little more toasty. If it's been a while since you've had your heating system checked, furnace, heat pump, whatever it is that you use to stay warm, call 803-677-1500. That's 677-1500, and let AAA Heating and Air get one of their techs into your house. Make sure everything's good to go. Make sure you're going to stay nice and toasty. Need a quick repair? They can tell you what it is with true transparency pricing, get you up and running real quick. Maybe time for a brand new system through the end of the year. Guaranteed financing, no payments or interest for a full year, $1,500 system buyback rebate, 15-year parts and labor guarantee. That's what Roy and Dana Finley want to do, keep you comfortable for many years to come. Do what I've done. Many of your friends and neighbors, call 803-677-1500 and stay warm with AAA Heating and Air.